Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please join us today in the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we'll be covering Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 61, Lord Balarāma slays Rukmī. So, before we get started, please join us in Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Janant Kori Vaishnavinda ki jai. Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udiriyet
Tato Jayam Udiriyet
Shravtam Swa Katha Krishna
Shravtam Sa Katha Krishna
Punya Shamana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto He Badrani
Hridayantasto He Badrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Sahratsutam
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavati Ruttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Hare Krishna. So today we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 61, Lord Balarāma slays Rukmī. Verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha
Ekaikashastah Krishnasya
Ekaikashasta Krishnasya
Putran Dasha Dashabalaha
Putran Dasha Dashabala
Aji Janan Anavaman
Aji Janan Anavaman
Pituh Sarvatma Sampada.
Pitu Sarvatma Sampada.
Please repeat.
Can you tell the canto in verse?
Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 61, Verse 1.
Okay. Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Ekaikashasta Krishnasya
Ekekashastah Krishnasya
Putran Dasha Dashabala
Putran Dasha Dashabalaha
Aji Janan Anavaman
Aji Janan Anvavaman
Pitu Sarvatma Sampada
Pituh Sarvatma Sampada. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Shri Shukdev Goswami said
Eka Ekashaha,
Eka Ekacha
each one of them,
each one of them
Taha,
Ta
they,
De
Krishnasya,
Krishnasya
of Lord Krishna,
of Lord Krishna
Putran,
Putran
sons,
sons
Dasha Dasha,
Dasha Dasha
10 each,
10 each
Abalaha,
Abla
the wives,
the wives
Aji Janan,
Aji Janan
gave birth to,
gave birth to
Anvaman,
Anvaman
not inferior,
not inferior
Pituhu,
Pitu
to their father,
to their father
Sarva,
Sarva
in all, Atma,
Atma
his personal, Sampada, opulences.
opulences.
Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, each of Lord Krishna's wives gave birth to 10 sons, who were not less than their father, having all his personal opulence. Purport: Lord Krishna had 16,108 wives, and thus this verse indicates that the Lord begot 161,080 sons. So in India, means in eastern countries, you would say 161,080 sons. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tadham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, sometimes when people start this chapter, the very first verse is very surprising because the chapter title has been given differently by different acharyas. This chapter 61 has been called by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as the progeny of Lord Krishna. So he is talking about the, how Lord Krishna begot so many sons and grandsons and how the dynasty is spread so widely. And Srila Sridhar Swami, he addresses all the pastimes that are covered here, as how Rukmī gave his daughter and granddaughter to Lord Shri Krishna, and how Lord Krishna had so many sons, and how he was slain by Lord Balarāma. Rukmī was slain by Lord Balarāma. And here it is again, Lord Balarāma slays Rukmī. So again, and how Pradyumna was married to the daughter of Rukmī. So those are various titles. Pradyumna is Lord Krishna's eldest son. He is born of Rukmini Devi, who is sister of Rukmī. And we covered earlier that Rukmī, he had taken the vow that he would not return back to his father's place unless he has relieved his sister. So when Lord Krishna kidnapped Rukmini, he went after Lord Krishna and Rukmini with his army, but he approached Lord Krishna directly and challenged him. And at that time, Lord Krishna defeated Rukmī, but when he saw Rukmini Devi, being agitated, holding Lord's lotus feet, so he did not kill Rukmī. He just disfigured him. And then Lord Balarāma came and he rebuked Lord Krishna for having disfigured a relative. And he pacified, Lord Balarāma pacified Rukmini Devi. So afterwards they were married, and then the first son Pradyumna was born. Right? And Pradyumna, again, Srila Prabhupada explains as how he is also referred to as personality of Godhead. So we covered this earlier. From Lord Krishna comes Balarāma. And from Balarāma comes Lord Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So these are also 4 Vishnu Tattvas, and Acharyas explain that they come in this particular pastime. So this is where we will be hearing as how Aniruddha also comes and so forth. So all 4 personalities are in Dwarka. They will, at the end of this chapter, by the end of this chapter, we will be discussing their pastimes. So Lord Vasudeva and Lord Sankarshan, they are already there, and Lord Sankarshan is married to Revati, the daughter of King Revat. And Lord Krishna has 16,108 wives. And from each wife, he begot 10 sons. And their qualities have been explained. There is elaborate description given about the progeny, the name of the sons for each of his 8 prime queens, and then 16,100 wives also had 10 sons each, and all of them were as strong, as opulent, as beautiful as Lord Shri Krishna. So this has been also expressed. And here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also reveals that from each wife he also had 1 daughter. So how many daughters Lord Krishna had? 16,108 daughters, 1 from each of his queens. And when Shukdev Goswami is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and he is describing this chapter, he becomes overwhelmed, and he is glorifying as how each of the queen was personally serving Lord Shri Krishna. So again, this is also telling us that when a devotee is engaged in service, they increase their service. It's not that they reduce the service, rather they are more and more of their time is engaged in serving the Lord and helping others learn how to serve the Lord. So His Holiness Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, he says that you can preach all day, and sometimes, if needed, you may speak. What does that mean? That by our actions, we should show it. And there are wonderful examples. When Srila Prabhupada was here, he had an amazing disciple. His name was Jayananda. So, His Grace Jayananda was always so happy that people, when they would come to the temple, and he would take most humble tasks. Sometimes he would be collecting, the garbage from the garbage cans and all that, and cleaning stuff. And people would see that he's so jubilant. If this person who's cleaning the temple, who's taking care of the trash, is so jubilant, what can we talk about, Srila Prabhupada and his other devotees? So a lot of people got attracted to Krishna consciousness just by seeing the mood of His Grace Jayananda. So he had such a pleasing demeanor, and he was always, very calm and very happy and very patient. And he would engage people in such a way that people would automatically be attracted. He used to drive a taxi, so as a taxi cab driver. And sometimes he would be repairing his car. So he would be like, he would push his body under the car trying to repair something. And as he sees someone walking by, he would ask, "Oh, could you give me such and such instrument?" And the person would stop, hearing such a sweet way someone is requesting. And they would, pass him the right tool from his toolbox. And just by doing that, he would engage. And he would be so easily, he would approach the storekeepers, and sometimes he would just converse with them in such a pleasing manner. And there are cases where he did not have money to pay, and instead of that, he was talking to them, and he would tell them about Krishna consciousness in such a attractive manner, that they would be willing to take it on their own. And many times he would just hand them a book, and they would be surprised looking at such a thick book, and he would tell them the glories of Bhagavad Gita as it is, how it has been translated, and how Prabhupada came all the way in 1965 from India to America, just taking all this pain and all this, making all this endeavor just to please Lord Krishna and his spiritual master. So when Lord Krishna and his Guru, they are merciful to us, faith in bhakti, it removes all kind of anarthas. And we become endowed with such wonderful qualities like that of demigods. It's given in scriptures. But he was a living example of that. And then all the devotees of Srila Prabhupada show that. So as Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and the Nectar of Devotion was a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Prabhupada. It is very nicely described. Adava Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Atha Bhajana Kriya, and then Anartha Nivriti Syat. So the processes have been described. And the focus is that in the beginning one should have faith. When one has faith, then one engages with Sadhu Sangha, like devotee association. Association of devotees enables one to, get this attraction to hearing and chanting of the holy name and the name, form, activities, pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. And when one is so engaged, one is automatically willing to take to the process, right? And when one takes to the process, one accepts a spiritual master. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updeshyanti taj jnanam jnanenas tattva darshina. So there is a process, as per process, vidhi. And what's this vidhi? Is to take shelter of a spiritual master. Lord Krishna in our heart as Chaitya Guru gives us the shelter of a spiritual master who is his external manifestation. So the spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, is a representative of Lord Shri Krishna. And he gives us instructions, and we should serve our spiritual master. So we can serve our spiritual master two ways. One is Vapu, his personal form, and second is Vani, by following his instructions. So by following his instructions is even considered greater, because we may not always be in our association, physical presence of our spiritual master. Yet at the same time, we always have his instructions available. And even the instructions of the acharyas in the disciplic succession can be taken with that mood. And we follow those instructions and we continue to engage in devotional service. What happens? Bhajana kriya. So our engagement in devotional service starts. Bhaj is not same as worship. Because worship is, archana, right? Bhaj is much bigger concept. And even Shankaracharya says, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Moolamate. So even he is glorifying that Lord Krishna is the Lord Govind. Govind is another name for Lord Krishna. And what does Govind means? One who gives pleasure to the senses and to the cows. Go also means senses as well as cows. So one who gives pleasure to the senses. How? Because when we serve Lord Krishna, when we serve our spiritual master, when we serve Vaishnavas, then we experience transcendental bliss because everyone has the same purpose. While when we serve the cows, then we are actually, Lord Krishna is always engaged in serving cows, tending to the cows. Surabhi abhipalayantam in Brahma Samhita, it is described that Lord Krishna is constantly tending to the cows, making sure that they are happy and jolly, and they are, he is taking out them to herding, interacting with other cowherd boys and so forth. So when we talk about this, of course, Acharyas explain, Lord Krishna never steps out of Vrindavan. So what are these personalities we are hearing as Krishna? They are not different from Krishna because Lord Krishna expands. Just like a candle with potency, lights up another candle. And then, even though the candles are identical, there is one original candle. So this original candle is Krishna. While the expanded personalities, as we talk about Balarāma, Lord Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, they are all Vishnu Tattvas. And they are the ones, these four personalities, Lord Vasudeva, Lord Sankarshan, Lord Pradyumna and Lord Aniruddha, they manage the affairs of these various material universes, not just one. So there is further expansion in the Purusharthas and so forth. Yet today we are going to talk about, the weakness of heart, Hridaya Daurbalyam, as how the faith is the starting point, and when we engage in Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivrati Sthyat. So Anartha Nivrati, so Anartha, what is Anartha? Anartha. Artha means that has value. An means not. So that item that does not have any value, any quality or any object that does not have any value is an anartha. So these anarthas are like weeds. So when we are chanting the holy name, engage in devotional service, then these anarthas are like weeds and they take away the nourishment that was actually meant for the Bhakti Lata Bij. Bhakti Lata is like the creeper of devotional service. And how we are watering by this creeper is by chanting and listening, hearing. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So again, these are the 9 processes of devotional service. And when we are engaged in these processes, we are actually providing nourishment and water to the creeper in our heart, the Bhakti Lata, the devotional creeper. Yes, the creeper of devotion. And this creeper grows when we are nicely performing, then it penetrates through the material realm and rests at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who is in Golok Vrindavan. So this description is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yet there is this weakness of heart, right? All these anarthas, they lead to this weakness of heart, Hridaya Daurbalyam. And there are many nice instructions given by Lord Krishna. In Puranas, there is a very nice story that comes, is that this man, as he was walking, suddenly he observes that the elephant taker who is taking care of elephants, he has tied these elephants with a very weak, thin rope. So he's surprised. He says, don't you think that these elephants, they can just do a minor jerk and break this rope, and then they can get out of here? Means you will not be able to do anything. Means all these elephants, there are so many of these elephants, and all of them are just tied with this weak rope that can be broken in a single jerk, and a minor jerk, not even a very strong jerk. So the elephant caretaker, he smiles. He says, Prabhu, when they were young, when they were still baby elephants. At that time, this rope was enough to tie them. And so, at that time, they tagged on it and they couldn't break away. So now, even though they have grown so powerful and so big, they still believe that they cannot break this rope, this thin rope that you are talking about. And that reveals the symptoms of Hridaya Daurbalyam. Even though we become so intelligent, we become so qualified as we grow from childhood to young age to old age, as we are maturing, growing every day, learning every day, somehow we are not able to break away from this material energy. And we get sometimes too much engrossed in the affairs of this world, the mundane affairs. And of course, how can we attain peace in that case, right? And today, current times are always, again, Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice, in his purport he writes, that when we think that something is auspicious versus inauspicious, when influenced under the three modes of material nature, and I'm paraphrasing. So, when we think, then it is only our mental speculation. In reality, there's nothing auspicious in this material world. And we have to finish our business here and go back home, back to Godhead. And how do you go back home? By engaging in devotional service. So the only way one can attain peace in this material world is by, becoming Krishna conscious. So we have this responsibility to ourselves and to our fellow kingsmen and our fellow, family members and relatives and friends, that we not just become Krishna conscious, but we also spread Krishna consciousness. Because that is the only solution at current times. Hare Krishna. So, when we engage in Krishna consciousness, what happens? What is the mood of a devotee? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. So one who is at the stage of Brahman, he is prasannatma, right? He is always jubilant, he is always happy and joyful. So that prasannatma, na shochati na kankshati, does not lament about the past, as well as does not aspire for the future. And these two things, aspirations and lamentation, they are, the cause of anxiety. So one is not anxious. So that means one has to be peaceful before becoming happy, prasannatma. And samah sarveshu bhuteshi. And he looks at all living entities with equal vision. And what is that equal vision? First is, of course, to understand Mad Bhakti Labhate Param, and always engages in the devotional service to Lord Shri Krishna, and understanding that all these living entities are very dear to Lord Krishna. He is the seed-giving father. Lord Krishna says, Aham Bij Pradha Pita, to all the living entities, not just humans, but also to animals, beasts, birds, aquatics, insects, worms, all living entities that we see and know of. All of them are very dear to Lord Krishna because, they are just living entities having these different dresses in reality. So one of the most important things we should think of is that everyone is very dear to Lord Krishna. So we have to look at everyone with that equal vision. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shopakecha Pandita Samadarshina. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. When we are properly endowed with the right knowledge, our intelligence is sharp enough that we have the right knowledge. Sampanne. We have accomplished that. Brahmane Gavi Hastini. A Brahman, Gavi is a cow, Hastini is an elephant. Shuni Cheva Shopakecha. So a Chandal as well as a dog. So a dog eater and also a dog. A Pandita Samadashina. So a Pandit, A Pandit is one who has the right level of knowledge. So Vidya Vinaya Sampane also refers to that. Samadarshana looks at everyone as equal vision, but at the same time understands their position in this material world and interact with them accordingly. So we don't take association of the materialists, rather we give them our association and always engaging, helping them understand the purpose of life. This is spreading Krishna consciousness. To understand that Jivera Sarup Hoya Krishnera Nityadas, that we as living entities are eternal servant of Lord Krishna. And as we see in Bhagavad Gita, that was the cause of lamentation for Arjuna. He was thinking of the future, that in the fight, he would be fighting with his grandfather, Bhishma, he will be fighting with his guru, Dronacharya, he would be fighting with his cousins and his kingsmen on the other side. And in that mood, and if they will be killed, then he is feeling lamentation. Then he would feel lamentation at that time. So while aspiring to fight, it will be the cause of his lamentation. And he, seeing this, when he is looking at it, he is associating with his body. Right? So that is, he's carrying out as a prescribed duty, but he's getting bewildered because he's a compassionate devotee of Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna picks him up in chapter 2 to identify that he is not the body, he is a spirit soul. And then as he discusses in 7th and 8th chapters, the more confidential knowledge he provides is that as a spirit soul, we are eternal servant of Lord Krishna and we should engage in devotional service. And further in chapter 9, he gives the most confidential knowledge, where he says that a devotee engages in Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti is pure devotional service. And in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami discusses what is pure devotional service. Anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam rishi ke anukulena Krishna anushilanam bhaktiruttama. So anya bhilashita shunyam, giving up all other desires, but only, abhilasha. But he doesn't say abhilasha, he says anya bhilashita. Shita means when we are in danger, then we immediately call out for Lord Krishna. We call out for Lord Vasudeva, we call out for Lord Sankarshan. So we are calling out for Lord when we are in danger, when we are bewildered, when we feel anxiety. Jnana karmadi anavritam, and is not covered. So our engagement of our activities, mind, body and words, are not covered by the monastic knowledge or the karma kand principles, right? The jnana karmadi anavritam not being covered by those. Anukulena Krishna. Anukul is as Lord Krishna desires, in that manner, not pratikul. Pratikul is against. Anukul is as Lord Krishna desires, in that mood. Anushilanam refers to following in the footsteps of our previous acharyas. So we engage in serving Lord Krishna without having any desire for sense gratification, with love and devotion, and not covered by the monastic knowledge or the karmakanda aspects. And favorable to Lord Krishna, we are engaging, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. That is defined as pure devotional service. So when we look at it from that mood, we really understand how we should be dealing in this world. So everything in this material world is inauspicious. And Srila Prabhupada in 1971, he gave a very nice instruction to Narayani Mataji. He said that if you are thrown in Atlantic Ocean and you are being hit by the waves from all directions, what are you going to do? Are you going to ask the ocean to calm down and not have any waves anymore? You can't do that, right? So we have to analyze it. This material world is also called Bhavasagar, right? It's a manifested, a big ocean. And if we are in this material world, then there will be waves after waves coming for us. None of the problems will be done. It is said in the Shastras that when we leave this body, at that time our inbox will not be empty. And there are many stories given as how death is approaching different personalities and they are saying, no, let me do this and let me do that. They always have this plan to satisfy their desires. And these desires it's a symptom of the living entity itself. A living entity is never out of desires. But however, one should have pure desires which are filled with love for Lord Krishna. So that is the definition of love. That when we put Lord Krishna in the center and serve Him, all our desires are dovetailed in serving Him and pleasing Him. That are the true desires. When we put our senses, ourselves, and our relatives who are an expansion of ourselves in the center, then actually we are engaging in lustful activities. These lusty activities will cause a fall down. So here, we are hearing, and also some of the folks asked that, the marriage among the cousins, is that right? Because we are seeing that so many cousins are getting married. Even the first cousins are getting married. Then Srila Prabhupada very nicely describes in Krishna book that even though it is not sanctioned by the Vedic scriptures, right? These occurrences are there in Krishna Lila and Srimad Bhagavatam because they were done because of affection, again, association with the body aspect. So some of those occurrences were due to, affection. Somebody felt affection, so they gave their daughter. So that has been, or even sanctioned that their granddaughters be married, as in the case of Rukmī. So as we see, Rukmī as a Kshatriya is constantly under the modes of material nature. So he is constantly associating with the body. He is not relating it. Even though he has heard glories of Lord Krishna from Devishi Narad, he does not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's because of his association. His association is defining how he thinks, how he behaves, how he speaks. And that is another reason that our association matters. And for this, there are various aspects, various cautions being provided by Rupa Goswami. He is identifying in Nectar of Instruction, right? Updeshamrit. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sanghascha lolyamcha sadbhir bhakti vinashyati. Vinashyati means vinash. It's the destruction of our devotional life. What causes it? Atyahara. There are six symptoms. First one is atyahara, eating more than necessary. And this has been expanded by Srila Prabhupada by saying acquiring more than what is necessary for one to sustain oneself. So when we try to hoard too many things, and we try to, it's not just wealth-wise or, influence-wise or control-wise or property-wise, all those aspects, anything that's opulent, trying to acquire more is atyahara. Prayasya, doing over endeavor. And we talk about this pravarga, right? A person who is over endeavoring, he is engaged in devotional, in conditional life, is always leading a life and killing the soul by engaging in this manner. Bhama. Pa stands for parishram, right? Prayashascha. Parishram is what is causing. And then prajalpa, in mundane talks, engaging mundane talks. Atyahara, prayasya, prajalpa, niyam agraha. Niyam agraha has been given two meanings. Niyam agraha is giving up, and niyama graha. So niyama agraha is giving up ritualistic activities. Another one is too much attached to ritualistic activities. So both of them are not correct. Rather, one should spiritualize one's existence. So the ritualistic activities with the right spirit, when merged together, become spiritual. So it's nothing wrong to perform ritualistic activities, but with the right mindset. To please Lord Krishna when they are provided, then it's spiritualized. So one should engage in spiritual activities, which are devotional services. Jana Sanghascha. So the devotee association is desired. Jana Sangha is mundane, materialist association. So it's association of people who are very materialistically oriented. So when you take their association, you get influence. As we heard about Kritvarma, he had associated with Kansa intimately, so he was party to the scheme with Akrur to kill Satyajit, and he sends Shatadhanva to kill Satyajit and retrieve the Samantaka jewel. So we covered that earlier. So again, that is because of the association. Lolyam cha, and having too much greed. So there is enough on this planet to meet everyone's need, but it is not enough to even meet one person's greed. So we should understand this aspect. So here, Lord Krishna's 16,108 wives, they had 10 sons each, and each of them had one daughter. So first daughter is being described where her name was Charumati. Charumati was daughter of Rukmini Devi, and she was married to Kritvarma's son Bali. So not Maharaj Bali, but Kritvarma had a son by the name Bali, and he was very powerful and very endowed with very good qualities as a devotee of Lord. So he married Lord Krishna's first daughter. So again, he had so many other daughters, and now among his sons who are named, there are some very prominent ones, like Pradyumna. So Pradyumna we heard in the earlier chapters as how he already had a wife, Mayavati, right? And Shukdev Goswami describes that Rukmī had a daughter, Rukmavati, and she was also married to Pradyumna. So here, Parikshit Maharaj is surprised. How could Rukmī, who was envious of Lord Krishna, he always considered Lord Krishna as his enemy, had this strong feelings against Lord Krishna, how could he allow his daughter to be married to Lord Krishna's son? And there Shukdev Goswami smiles and tells him about this pastime. And he is describing that how Lord Krishna's each wife, even though they have hundreds of thousands of maid servants, they personally were serving Lord Krishna, and Rukmī once arranged Swayamvar for his daughter. And Pradyumna was present, and we talked about Pradyumna he expands, Lord Pradyumna expands as Cupids in all the material universes. So he is the original Cupid, Kandarpa, right? And so he was present in that assembly, and she could not resist, and she put the garland on him. So as soon as she expressed that she wants to marry Pradyumna, all the other kings and princes who were there, they challenged Pradyumna, and Pradyumna on his single chariot, without the help of other Yadavas, alone he defeated all those kings and princes. So here, at that time, Pradyumna, again this is Rakshasi Vivan of the four kinds, he takes his new wife and Rukmī to please his sister, because he is the elder brother of Rukmini Devi, Queen Rukmini, who is first wife of Lord Krishna, Lord Vasudeva. So he, just to please his sister, he sanctions it. Even though Vedic scriptures, the Vedic culture does not sanction marriage between cousins, he sanctions it just to please his sister. So again, on a bodily relationship he is thinking, And then Rukmī, when he is married to Pradyumna, when he is married to Rukmī's daughter, Rukmavati, he has a son, and the son's name is Anuruddha. So his son, when he grows up, Rukmī at that time, because of his affection towards his younger sister, he decides to give his granddaughter, Rochana, in marriage to Aniruddha. So at that time, Lord Krishna, Lord Balarāma, Rukmini Devi, along with Pradyumna and Samba. Samba is the eldest son of Jamvati. And all of Jamvati's sons, they were very obedient to Lord Krishna, and they will always be serving Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna was very much attached to them. There was a son from another queen by the name Kunti, and he was very powerful and so forth. So these sons are described, and again in other scriptures, other pastimes of these sons are described. But here, staying on the topic, Lord Krishna, along with Lord Vasudeva, Lord Sankarshan, Lord Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and many of other sons of Lord Vasudeva, they go to Bhojkat. This is the place where Rukmī he was insulted actually. He was defeated by Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna, mocking him, disfigured him by taking off his hair, like half of his moustache, part of his eyebrows, and so forth. He disfigured Rukmī. And so Rukmī established a big city at that place. And he still had the association of his wicked, envious friends, the kings and princes. And the marriage ceremony is very nicely performed. However, what happens is right after the marriage at that place, king of Kalinga, he approaches Rukmī and incites him. He says that Lord Balarāma is not very good at playing chess, right? And it is playing dice, actually, Chaucer. So that's the name of the game. But Srila Prabhupada, to make it easy as people can relate to it, he uses the word chess, in Krishna book. So he's not at playing dice. And you should invite him. So that way, we'll have some fun. So this is an envious, an anartha, right? To become, to try to mock someone, to try to make someone feel down. In current times, we are seeing a lot of those emotions are rising of people who are compassionate at heart, saying that why should there be such hatred? Why should there be such actions? Right? And we, as devotees, should understand that only when we are Krishna conscious, only when we are engaged in devotional service, we can transcend the three modes of material nature. You cannot ask the waves to stop. The waves will continue. The material world will always, toss us left and right. However, the only shelter is to rise above these waves, to take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna. So that's our state where Lord Krishna will pull us out of this ocean. And we won't be feeling these waves. Rather, we will be at peace and we will be at calm. And Srila Prabhupada gives very nice instruction that we have to chant our rounds every day. We have this responsibility to chant minimum 16 rounds every day. And if we don't chant those rounds, then he cannot provide us protection. And when we chant the rounds, then we are under this umbrella, which is the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. And we are quickly progressing in our journey, in our spiritual journey, while still being very compassionate to the living entities. That's why we are constantly praying to the Vaishnavas, the Acharyas, and all the pure devotees of Lord Krishna, that they are just like desire trees and they are very compassionate to the conditioned souls and they can fulfill all desires. And they are constantly dedicated at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So here, Rukmī has been incited by this king of Kalinga, who is a very wicked king, and he just wants to engage in all kind of anarthas, all these mundane things. And Rukmī is trying to, make fun of Lord Balarāma. Lord Balarāma was the only one who actually was able to console Rukmī and Rukmini when Lord Krishna had defeated Rukmī and disfigured him. And he is the only benefactor in this case. And now, somebody could be so wicked, can you imagine? Try to make mockery of a well-wisher, of one's own well-wisher. So Rukmī, he decides, and he challenges Lord Balarāma for a game of dice. And Lord Balarāma, Lord Sankarshan, so Lord Balarāma and Lord Krishna, they are always in Aparakat Bhav in Madhurya form in Vrindavan. While here they are in Prakat as well as Aishwarya form as Lord Vasudeva and Lord Sankarshan. So Lord Sankarshan, he accepts because he is appearing as Kshatriya, son of Vasudeva, who is also a Kshatriya. So he accepts because as a Kshatriya, the prescribed duty is one should not deny, one is challenged to fight or a game of dice. And Lord Balarāma, he agrees. So the first round is being said to be, and they're playing with the wager is golden coins. So 100 gold coins, 1,000 gold coins, 10,000 gold coins. So the first round goes in this manner and Lord Balarāma loses the game of dice. At that time, the king of Kalinga, who's sitting on the side of Rukmī, he laughs loudly and he is, making jokes at Lord Balarāma. And Lord Balarāma could not tolerate it. He was getting agitated. And it said that his mood could be seen, his eyes, who were already red because of the agitation, were getting redder. And it was like waves on a high tide on a full moon night. So in full moon, the attraction towards the moon increases. So the waves are very high and very rough. And then Lord Balaram somehow consoled himself, and then he continued to play the next one. So Rukmī at that time said 100,000. Lord Balaram agreed. And this time, fortunately, Lord Balaram won. However, Rukmī cheated. He said, no, I have won. I am the winner. And Lord Balaram did not say anything. He just, biting his tongue, seeing the tendency this Rukmī is showing. And he is, continuing. So the next one is 100 million gold coins. Next wager. And again Lord Balaram wins, fortunately. And then Rukmī again says, no, I have won. You can ask all these kings and princes who are gathered here. And all were Rukmī's friends. And they were all wicked. The association was wicked, filled with all anarthas, being envious, being, abominable character. So, seeing that everyone is supporting, a wonderful thing happens. Akashvani, a voice from the sky says, no, Rukmī, Lord Balaram has won this game fair and square. But Rukmī ignored it. Ignored the voice of the oracle. He ignored this Akashvani, the voice from the sky, this declaration that Lord Balaram is the winner. And he actually rebuked Lord Balaram that I am the winner. You and Krishna are cowherd boys. Your purpose is to tend to cows. You wander in the forest and tend to the cows. What do you know about playing dice, this gambling match, or fighting with arrows? When he says, Lord Balaram becomes very angry. And when Lord Sankarshan is angry, his eyes are red, and in anger he picks up his club and strikes Rukmī on his helmet, on his head, and Rukmī falls dead on the ground. And at that time, the king of Kalinga, he is trying to run away, and on the 10th step, Lord Balaram catches him, and with his club he breaks away all his teeth that he was showing when he was smiling and laughing at Lord Balaram. And similarly, all other kings and princes, they fled the arena, with some of them had their arms broken, some had their legs broken, some had their heads smashed and so forth, split apart, cracked. So in that state, so you can imagine such an auspicious marriage ceremony is being spoiled by these wicked anarthas. Once get influenced by anarthas, and these happen because of the wrong association. So in current times, when so many things are happening, we have always been sharing from Krishna consciousness perspective, then the matter is of love and compassion towards our other living entities. Non-violence is to understand, what is right and what is wrong, and do what is right. Sometimes, people start to take, look only in black and white perspective. Well, there are whole millions of shades of gray in between. And the most important message is we should understand that we should love all. We should be compassionate towards all. How can someone be compassionate while they're killing animals, right? Showing non-violence. And many devotees, they say that actually your compassion is shown on the dinner table when you sit. What are you eating? Are you eating prasad? Or are you just eating? Even Srila Prabhupada said that, and in his writing he says that what one should eat is prasad, because if we don't eat prasad, if we just eat another thing, anything that has not been offered to Lord Krishna, then yagya shishta shina santo muchyante sarvakilvishe bhunjite te togham papa ye pachantatma karanat. So when we eat food stuff not offered to Lord Krishna, then we are eating only sin. Togham papa pachantatma. So what we are digesting is all sinful. And those will show us in our mind, body and words, in our actions, in our speech, and the way we look at things. And we will always be restless. Currently we see so much restlessness all around the world. And this restlessness is because people are not looking with the, right perspective. They are not looking compassionately towards the fellow human beings. And Srila Prabhupada said that,
this place could be Vaikuntha if we become Krishna conscious. And one of his disciples asked, so Srila Prabhupada, how much % of the population has to become Krishna conscious for this earth planet to become Vaikuntha? Vaikuntha means a place there is no kuntha, no misery. Srila Prabhupada said just 2%. If 2% of the population becomes Krishna conscious, then this planet will become Vaikuntha, a place of no misery. So 98% can stay as they are, but just 2%. Such an easy target for us to have. And we should start with ourselves. Whatever we do, yat karoshi yadashnasi yat jihoshi tadasi yat tapasyasi kantya tat kurisho madapranam. So Lord Krishna reveals this secret to Arjuna in the 9th chapter, 27th verse. Whatever we do, yat karoshi, yadashnasi, whatever we offer, whatever we give away, whatever we engage in, all sacrifices, all activities, whatever austerities we perform, everything we should do it as an offering to Lord Krishna. Keeping Lord Krishna in the center and dovetailing everything in His service. When we engage in that manner, we are also doing it in the association of devotees. So it is not that Kirtan is the dharma for this current age, it is the sacrifice. It is Sankirtan Yajna. So when we engage in serving the Lord, we are chanting His glories, we do it in association of devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we should always be looking at that. In scriptures, there is a very nice story that comes of a Brahman and a prostitute. They had their houses just opposite to each other, facing each other. So every morning when Brahman would come out of the house, he would see, right in front of his house, who lives? A prostitute lives. And various men, they are visiting her during the day. And he would think, oh, she's so bad, and what is abominable activity she's engaged in, what abominable creature she is, and what kind of bad activities she's, performing. And that he was doing every day. While he was engaged in devotional service, he was worshipping the Lord, he was carrying out his duties. This prostitute, she would look at the Brahman's house, and she would look at Brahman performing all this worship, and she would say, oh, this Brahman is such a wonderful person, he is engaged in such wonderful activities. And he is constantly worshipping the Lord. I wish I had such a good fortune. And so that was her mood every day. And it just so happens that both of them died on the same day. Yamdutas came to take Brahman, while Vishnudutas came to take the prostitute. So the Brahman said, there must be something wrong, there must be some mistake. You should actually be going to the house across my house, to the prostitute house, because she also died and Then Yamduta said, no, that is not correct. Because when she was looking at you, she was constantly thinking that how wonderful activities you are performing. She was always looking at it. So by glorifying you, even in her heart, she was getting the great fruits, the spiritual benedictions from Lord's blessing. That's why she's going back to Vaikuntha. While you had been thinking negatively about her, in a discriminatory and derogatory manner, you were thinking how bad she is, what her doing is, all the activities she is engaged in. That's why we have to take you, because now you got all the shares of hers. And scriptures reveal that when we criticize someone, when we do ninda, right? Ninda is criticism. We're trying to say bad things about others. Then all their bad karmas, those reactions come to us. So you have to be very careful even having a negative thought. We should not even engage in negative thought. That should be the mood of a devotee. As a devotee, we want to advance. Why create these weeds? Give them, space in our heart when our heart is meant to only be serving Lord Krishna and engaging in devotional service, provide nourishment to our Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotion. So we have to be very careful, because this creeper is very delicate. And our spiritual journey, when we are on this boat, we don't want to shake the boat. What happens when you shake the boat? The boat can overturn and you may drown. So it is very important for us to be very careful in every step that we take, in every move that we make. So here, this is what we see as how Rukmī, in the wrong association, in the association of wicked kings and princes, he had taken the wrong step. And one who was his well-wisher, one who was his benefactor, he tried to mock that personality, Lord Balarāma. And so he was slain, he attained death. And in case of Lord Krishna, when he kills someone, one immediately goes to Vaikuntha. However, in case of Lord Balarāma, when one is annihilated, doesn't directly get Vaikuntha, because in case of Lord Balarāma, the anarthas, this wickedness, this is an anartha, right? And this is removed on our heart because of our constant endeavor as well as Lord's mercy. So we need both to be able to get rid of this anartha. So we should hear and chant, with great attention and great, humble state, in a humble state of mind, and being very patient. So that's one of the important lessons that we get in this particular chapter. And as we'll see in the next chapter, how Aniruddha and Usha, they are married again. So each of the sons of Lord Krishna had 10 wives, and then their sons, the grandsons of Lord Krishna, had 10 wives. So overall, Lord Krishna's family had more than 1 million members. So such vast is the family of Yadavas and Lord Krishna's own family, and how he is carrying out all his duty as a perfect husband. So it is also identified. Srila Prabhupada used to say, you have to make sure that you are able to carry out your duty as a perfect householder. You should not accept another wife if you cannot do that. And Lord Krishna, he expanded himself. And his wives thought that he is their henpecked husband. Why? So henpecked is the word used by Srila Prabhupada in Krishna book. Because Lord Krishna never stepped out of the house or of the palaces without their permission. And he always spent his time with them. And they were constantly, feeling love of Lord Krishna because of his smile, his lotus eyes. They were constantly attracted to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna is all attractive. That's the meaning of word Krishna. So they were looking at his long arms, his pleasing smiles, his joking all the time, and his, constantly showing and appreciating. And they were personally engaged in his service. So Shukdev Goswami uses some of the verses in this chapter that he had used in chapter 59, when 16,100 princes were married to Lord Krishna. It's like they were personally serving Lord Krishna with such devotion. And they thought that Lord is attached to them and they are his favorite. So again, similar aspect came in Rasa dance, as each gopi thought that Lord is alone with him, as if like Lord is only with each of the gopis, and each gopi was thinking of themselves to be very fortunate. So here again, all the queens were thinking of Lord Krishna that she is his favorite. Yet Lord Krishna, he is Atmaram, he is self-satisfied, and he was not attracted by any of these. He was not at all. He is just reciprocating their mood. So Lord Krishna reciprocates the mood of a devotee. Ye yatam mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. So he is very nicely reciprocating with his wives while they are thinking, and he is not at all touched by lust. He is above the 3 modes of material nature. And lust is said to be in the mode of passion, and sometimes even dives down to the mode of ignorance, because we see demons becoming lusty. That's in the mode of ignorance. And we see animals who are in the mode of ignorance also acting lusty. So those are the lower modes. Srila Prabhupada said that we should rise to at least to the mode of goodness, because in the mode of goodness one is clean, shuchi, and cleanliness is next to godliness. So we can never become God, but we can become godly. And by engaging in devotional service, we transcend the 3 modes of material nature. Even the mode of goodness, get to the mode of pure goodness, Brahma Bhuta. Be situated in Brahman. So why have material experience when we are spiritual beings? As spiritual beings, we should have spiritual experience. Why be in lower modes? So that should be the lesson that we should take today. And of course, following the process, we should continue to engage in devotional service, and chanting of the holy name is an easy way to start this journey. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This is where the chapter ends. Please join us for Nasima Devarti.
भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।